email that we created is what I refer to as a seller activation email. If somebody opens up the email, that tells me there's a level of interest that they have, that at the very minimum, they should be on my call list for that week. What I do with my marketing is I look to start a conversation, because a conversation will lead to a decision. So anytime I do a marketing campaign, I ask myself this question: am I forcing the consumer to make a really difficult decision, or am I just starting a conversation? All the ones that work tend to be easy to answer questions that start a conversation. So the third strategy I would say is, and this is something you can do on a monthly basis. So I got a message from my buddy Trey, who says, Jimmy, I just got an $850,000 listing opportunity, and the guy wants to buy a $900,000 house. So you can do the math on that. That's $1.7 million in production just right there. I got an email from my buddy Tammy Montgomery, who is the queen of Shreveport, Louisiana. I mean, Mama T. I absolutely love her. She's just all action. She sent me a message, Jimmy, I just got a $350,000 appointment from this email. And so this email that I'm going to share with you right now, and again, we'll give the example in the show notes, but you can follow along here. This email that we created is what I refer to as a seller activation email. And the important thing here, Jimmy, is I'm going to give you the exact email that we sent, but I'm also going to encourage everyone. This is something you can do on a monthly basis. And so here's the script. The first thing that we do is, in the subject line of the email, we use the technique is qualify through copy. And what that basically means is, if somebody opens up the email, that tells me there's a level of interest that they have, that at the very minimum, they should be on my call list for that week to check in with them. So the subject line is, would you sell if ... And so I'm opening up that curiosity gap. I know if they've opened up the email, that I'm qualifying through copy. Then I open up the message, and I gotta give shout out to my buddy Chris Smith, who shared this with me from Bankrate. Bankrate put out this incredible study on what's going on with the cost of maintaining your home. And one of the data points that really stood out to me was the cost of maintaining your home has gone up 26% in the last 4 years. So the opening line of the email is, I just read that the annual cost of maintaining a home is 26% higher than 4 years ago. And now here's where the psychology really comes into play. Now I turn on the herd mentality, which is, people tend to be drawn towards or act like other people. It's the old PT Barnum line: nothing draws a crowd quite like a crowd. And so the second line of the email is, this is why many sellers are cashing in on the equity they've gained recently. And so what I'm doing there is I'm saying, hey, listen, this is the reason why a lot of people are thinking about selling or have been selling, is because the cost of living is going up, which is objectively true for many sellers across the US and Canada. And then the last line here is, if my buddy Chris Voss and Phil Jones had a baby, I have what I call the irresistible hook, which is, I know this is probably a crazy question, but if you had a great offer, would you consider selling? And that email, Jimmy, is 40 words, 50 words. You can read it on your phone, and then the answer is yeah, right? Maybe I would explore the idea. And this is the thing I want everyone to visualize when it comes to doing marketing to attract sellers and get listings, which is the business I'm in. Everybody makes this mistake, Jimmy. And I wish we could add an overlay here that can just visualize what I'm about to communicate. Is, if you think about one side of the spectrum, or the axis, is decision, and on the opposite side is a conversation. What everyone does with their marketing is they try to get the consumer to make a decision based on what they're seeing. Do you need to sell your house right now? Would you sell your house? I mean, they're trying to get them to make a decision. It's a big decision. It's a big ask. Robert Cialdini in his book, Influence, talked about this idea of getting your foot in the door. It's called the foot in the door technique, which is, what's the easiest, simplest step that they can take so you can get some momentum in the deal. What I do with my marketing is I look to start a conversation, because a conversation will lead to a decision. But you're very rarely going to get someone to say, oh, I saw an ad, I got an email, I got a postcard, now I'm going to sell. Chances are they should talk to a professional who can give them the information so they can make an informed decision. So anytime I do a marketing campaign, I ask myself this question, Jimmy. I'm like, am I forcing the consumer to make a really difficult decision, or am I just starting a conversation? And all the ones that work tend to be easy to answer questions that start a conversation. So that would be my advice as it relates to just broadly speaking marketing. But the equity update email, which we call the seller activation email, Jimmy, relevant news that happens every month, you can use that as a hook when you're creating these emails to send out to your database. And by the way, monthly is not too much. Monthly is completely okay in this scenario.
Yeah. Yeah. No, this is great. And listen, I mean, obviously, like you said, you can do these and you can figure these out. I know that y'all are offering these things to your clients every month with it, where there's just constantly stuff there. But I will say this, I just realized there was a reason. Last night, when I was at home, I knew we were going to be talking today. And every single time we do, look at this, I've already got multiple pages of notes here. I sat there, my wife had this movie on. And I grabbed a tennis ball and just sat there with my hand and just flexed the tennis ball because I knew I needed to get my wrist warmed up because I was going to be right taking so many notes. So I was prepared today, but I'm still needing to shake my hand out a little bit from all these notes. But all right, this is such good stuff. Let's keep moving. Let's keep moving with this.